Supplied by Wholesale Supply Group. WholesaleSupply.us. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no slap. Got a thirst for killing. Think about it.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Hump Day today, Wednesday edition. Andy here along with Jim and Jacob. And I want to lead with this since I led off the show a little rowdy yesterday. I just want to let Jim know on air that we're absolutely just grateful for everything he does for the Drive specifically and his presence every day. And, you know, we were talking about Coach Ryan Day and the apparent...
The rumors.
I mean, we've got a visual. I don't know how much of a rumor it is. But of the potential of it being a legitimate barbell piercing through his nipple. And we had asked Jim yesterday, Jim, are you going to get yours pierced now that Ryan Day has done that?
Gonna get.
So what Jim's saying is that they might already be there.
Hey, why do you think I wear a T-shirt every day?
You got covered up, you know.
He's got the Band-Aids on over it. But we like to have fun on this show, so that's how we led off yesterday. And I tell you what, in complete seriousness, Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, we were just talking about it, how they made Arch Manning not look great.
Yeah, I think Matt Patricia had a pretty good thing going on there with the Ohio State defense. But that being said, I'm going to say this. I believe that Arch Manning missed some guys that were wide open. He just flat out missed them. And listen, I don't know if that was just an anomaly. I mean, he'll be much better as the season progresses. But there were some like the very first throw of the game was at the guy's ankles. There was no pressure on him on that. He just flat out made a bad throw. Yes, there was a lot of pressure on him at various times during that game, but Arch Manning's got to do better.
And kind of going back to having fun here, can we make a wager, Jim? If the Buckeyes, like, how much faith do you have in Ryan Day and Ohio State to go back-to-back and win another national title? Where do we stand on that?
I think they're one of the favorites, I think, along with about 5 or 6 other teams out there. I think there's about 5, maybe 6, 7, 8 teams out there that legitimately can win a national championship, just like it has been over the last few years.
Would you be willing to get your nipples pierced over a national title?
No, absolutely not. No tattoos, no piercings on this boy. Not happening.
There's your answer, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to do something that I'll regret. And say, Jim, we got you on record saying, I'm going to go on record saying, no, I will never do
So you
that.
don't want to be like these Cowboys fans that get Super Bowl champs tattooed every year and they never win it?
Or the Kentucky fan. I'll never forget the Kentucky fan. He got the tattoo on his leg. Kentucky 40-0 national champions. They got beaten in the semifinals by Wisconsin. I mean, the tattoos forever.
Yeah.
At least with a a piercing, you can remove it.
You can always tattoo psych after that.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm not a tattoo guy. I'm not a piercing guy. I'm just an old guy.
Hey,
that's all I am.
Speaking of getting tattoos, have you seen the Barstool dude that has a punishment Like he's so confident that Ohio State's going to go 12-0 that he has a punishment after every game if it doesn't happen.
I've not seen this.
Oh my gosh, y'all keep talking. I'm gonna find it and read it out.
Lord.
Some of them are like hysterical, like they're hilarious. So y'all keep on talking.
Listen, we've seen all these things online where people, I don't remember. Do y'all remember who Dr. Basketball was?
Yeah.
He ate dog food one time because he lost a bet. I think it had to do with I think it had something to do with the U.S. Amateur Open or something like that when it was down there at Ottawa.
Do you think the Florida State guy finally?
I was
ate
about
it?
to bring that up.
Do you think that's the reason why they're back to glory? So have you heard about the Ohio State fan that said he would eat dog poop out of a red?
Oh, I
Sox
have
cup?
heard it. Was that Ohio State guy? I thought that was. Listen, I've seen multiple Florida State guy. Okay, yeah, he's gonna eat feces.
God,
Feces.
that's
Good Lord.
Where are we going on this show?
Yeah, we really need to. I apologize for all the moms driving their kids around right now because
they've already turned it off.
This is not what we're all about. We're about complaining about the NFL Red Zone adding commercials. I'm sorry, that really upset me when I saw that. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, you mentioned that as I came into the studio today, and that's one thing that was always so unique about
7 hours of
Yeah.
commercial-free football.
so unique about NFL Red Zone. Obviously, now ESPN owns the rights. And hey, listen, no smoke against ESPN here. We know who takes care of us, but it is unfortunate that now they. I would like to see maybe like a picture-in-picture. I would be okay with that.
Maybe they will. I don't know if they'll just go full, flat-out commercial with audio or not, or they'll just have like you said, a picture-in-picture where you still.
But you got to pay the
highlights.
bills. You got to pay the bills.
You do. Yeah, absolutely. You have to. I'm sure. That's
I
probably
like
one of-
when NASCAR has a big race, they will put the coverage of like the race is still going on, but then they have the commercials playing on the side. The commercials take precedent, like the audio is
Yeah,
gone, but
yeah.
you still because imagine like we go to commercial break and somebody's driving on the 2-yard line and like we're gonna have to go to commercial.
You said NASCAR, and I was waiting on your.
you got to hit
your hot
F12.
button.
I think that.
Oh, is it still on there?
I hope so. Is the
Yeah.
boogity?
Boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Close
That's
enough.
a new one.
Close
That's a
enough.
new one. I
Close
like
enough.
that.
That is good. But listen. I mean, I know some of the major golf tournaments do stuff like that. What you just said, you'll have a picture-in-picture. It is what it is. This is the reality. Listen, we understand. In our business, ads is what keeps us on air. Ads is what keeps any television program or any network going. You got to have commercials. Without the commercials, you're not going to be on the air very long.
I'll tell you what's really keeping us on the air. It's all the middle-aged women out there that are thinking about Jim Gum getting his nipples pierced. That's what's keeping us on the air right now.
You guys, you guys.
Are we beating a dead horse here?
Yeah.
Big time. that horse has become glue. Okay, that's old. That horse is.
And listen, I said middle age, and I haven't even factored in the 24-year-olds like Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, man. I don't know what to think about that. Did y'all see the videos of her at practice and stuff like that?
She's calling the shots.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man.
You want to talk a major breakthrough in sports? We have a 24-year-old girl as the head coach of the UNC Tar Heels.
Allowing 48 points, the most ever by Bill Belichick coach.
So,
by the way.
kind of seriously speaking here, do you think North Carolina rebounds? Do you think we see better football out of them this year?
Yes, they're going to rebound. And listen, that's a good team they got beat by. TCU's a solid football team. They're not
a football school.
It's not like they got beat by like a Western Carolina or someone like that. They got beat by a really good football team. Yes, North Carolina's going to win some football games this year. Are they going to go to a bowl? I don't know. I think it's iffy. Will they go 6-6? Possibly. But I don't think that they're not a contender, and nobody thought they would. When you have 70 new guys on your roster, that's not a reload or a rebuild. That's a makeover. That's a makeover roster.
Yeah. So this week they're going to get a W. They're going to, and I'm kind of surprised this is a road game for them, but they're going to Charlotte. They're playing Charlotte.
Okay.
So that's a win for the Tar Heels. Bill Belichick.
You would certainly think.
Yeah, Bill Belichick should be getting his first one at 7 o'clock this Saturday. Then they're playing Richmond. Now, Richmond's a football
Richmond
school.
Spiders.
Yeah, they're a football school, but obviously a little bit smaller school.
FCS school. Russ Huseman is the head coach there. Remember,
Correct.
former Mox coach. But so those two games, you would think that the Carolina Tar Heels would get 2 wins and they'd be sitting there at 2-1. at UCF. And UCF,
tough.
by the way, UCF is picked 16th out of 16 teams in the Big 12.
So they're struggling right now.
So they have an opportunity.
But
there
you're
as
still
well.
going down to they call it the bounce house there, right?
They do. They call it the bounce house. That's right.
Going down to the bounce house. Then
you got Clemson.
You're really getting your work cut out for you against currently number 8 Clemson, but you get to host Clemson. So that'll be the next, I would say, big nationally televised where people are paying attention in North Carolina, and they could be 3-1 by that point.
Are we going to focus, or is the national media going to focus on North Carolina like they did with Colorado and Deion Sanders week after week after week?
I don't think,
even if they don't deserve it.
I don't think there's going to be as much clickbait material to put it as front and center, but I do think it's going to be a narrative that, hey, this guy won a bunch of Super Bowls. Let's see how he's doing, how he transitions to the college game. It's going to be out there. Now, as Jacob mentioned, if his 24-year-old girlfriend gets in the socials a little bit and mixing some stuff up, maybe it is a little bit more front and center.
Do you think that if he is not successful here as well after Tom Brady left, that his whole career gets chalked up to he had Tom Brady at quarterback?
It's not helping. Let's put it that way. It's not helping. But let me ask you this, okay? Do you think less of like a Steve Spurrier because he didn't have success in the NFL, or Urban Meyer because he didn't have success in the NFL? I don't think any less
Nick
of them.
Saban.
As a coach, as a college coach, I don't think any less of them. I think it just goes to show you how hard it is to do. I mean, Jimmy Johnson won a national championship and he won a Super Bowl. Paul Brown won. Of course, they didn't have Super Bowl back when he was coaching, but he won multiple NFL championships, and he won a national championship at Ohio State. So there's only 2 guys I can think of that had success on both levels.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, there's another one. Won national championships and Super Bowl with Seattle. So those are the 3 that I can think of off the top of my head.
He's about to win another one
with the Raiders. By the way, is Pete Carroll the most underappreciated head coach in the last 20 years? I think he is.
When you're speaking college football,
I'm talking about coaching general. Football coaching.
Well, I want to isolate it to college football because there for a good little stint, the USC dynasty, which is part of the reason why I couldn't stand him so much. Like he was the Nick Saban of about a 5-year period.
They were awesome.
They with Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, Reggie Bush. I mean, I'm naming off Heisman Trophy winners or former Heisman Trophy winners that had the trophy taken from them in Reggie Bush.
But it was
they
given
gave it
back to
back.
him.
Yeah, I just want to note that, letting the listeners know.
But, I mean, I think that Pete Carroll, like I said, I was a doubting Thomas when it came to him because he didn't have success in the NFL when he first became a head coach. Then he goes to USC, has unbelievable success. Then he goes to Seattle. I thought, nah, this is not going to happen there. He surprised me. He was a great NFL football coach there with the Seahawks, and I think he's the best thing that could happen to the Raiders. I really do.
Well, I think his coaching style translate across the 2 sports.
I do too.
I think that college football and NFL football are very different. I think that's why a Nick Saban style coaching didn't do super great in the NFL, and it makes me wonder if Bill Belichick is going to be the same way coming down. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry, but I think Pete Carroll's like always compete. Just hit the thing that he does the best. I think translates to both.
And this guy, I don't know, he's in his 70s, but he seems like he's in his early 60s or late 50s. He has really aged well.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He's like diving on people at practice.
He's
and
unbelievable,
getting in on tackles. And
there's one thing that I know, and this is all I need to know. If I'm in a Super Bowl and I've got Marshawn Lynch at running back, I'm handing him the football.
That's
down at the goal line.
Worst call that Pete Carroll has made in his professional career.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
They would have scored that touchdown. They would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Hey, real quick, if you want to join the conversation, as our friend Stephen Shelton has just done, text us on the Volunteer Ridipest text line 423-749-1013. He threw out a good one here. Barry Switzer.
Well, a lot of people,
Oklahoma and the Cowboys.
He did. Now, there's no doubt. He gets credit for the Super Bowl. A lot of people think that was Jimmy Johnson's team, and he happened to be the guy that followed him, and he won with Jimmy Johnson's players. But it still counts. It goes on Switzer's ledger. By the way, Barry Switzer, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson's in that category, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
Also, just because of what he did at Miami, what he did with the Cowboys, like That's elite level coaching, and it's hard to make that transition as we've seen guys like Dave Wanstead kind of go back and to the college game and struggle, and we're kind of seeing that with a small early sample size with Bill Belichick. But even Nick Saban, his time in the NFL, and in my opinion, I think he's probably one of the greatest coaches across all sports of all time, but he struggled in the NFL.
Yeah, he was only there for 2 years in Miami. Of course, he left LSU after winning a national championship there. He goes to the Dolphins, stays there for a couple years, and then obviously Alabama comes calling, and he takes that job. We don't know what Nick Saban would have done had he been able to coach the Dolphins for 4, 5, 6 years. Maybe he would have won. I mean, we'll never know. Obviously, it's all speculation. That's the thing. A lot of these guys weren't given much time. Spurrier wasn't there long. Urban Meyer was only there half a year. We'll never know if these guys would have won, but they will. You know, like I said, it was what they did do or didn't do when they were on the sidelines.
So I found the Ohio State guy and his potential punishments, and they're absolutely hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
And so I'm willing to throw one out there for my buddy Steven for week 3. If we want to do this, but if he would have lost to Texas, be a rodeo clown at a professional bull riding event. Who is this team right here, Andy?
That's Grambling.
Grambling State.
Grambling State. So perform a drum solo in a marching band at a high school football game. Legally change his name to Bobcats when they play the Ohio Bobcats.
Mm-hmm.
When they play Washington, volunteer 1 hour at a Paws dog shelter for every point the Huskers score.
So I want to interrupt this
The
real
Huskies.
quick.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing from this is when it's a game you absolutely should not lose. If you lose it, then you're getting a severe punishment, kind of like if you go into my Irish last year losing to Northern Illinois. I would have had a pretty tough punishment in that game.
Minnesota, dig a gopher hole and sleep in it overnight. Dress as Abe Lincoln until I can recite the entire Gettysburg Address.
What game is that for?
Illinois,
and it says 1 try per day.
The Wisconsin game's got to be something with cheese.
Take a bath in nacho cheese until I find and eat 100 hidden cheese curds. Color every inch of my body with a blue pen. In his name, he goes by Ohio Tate. This is when they play Penn State. He would become Penn State.
Oh gosh.
So Purdue, ride a train across the country from Maine to Southern California.
Okay, that wouldn't be bad.
It'd be fun.
UCLA, drive to Los Angeles and back. Sorry, that changed on the screen.
That one should have been let your dad make all your decisions for you.
Oh Lord.
Drive to Los Angeles and back without getting out of the car. Rutgers has entered the National Journalist Tournament jousting tournament.
Jousting, okay.
Dressed as a knight in shining armor.
Okay.
And then the Michigan one's big. Walk of shame from Ann Arbor to Columbus carrying a third base. Basically saying
born on third base.
Born on third base.
Lord.
So
that's good stuff, man.
You know, if Steven's listening, I really enjoyed the orange pants that he wore to the Tennessee game on Saturday. I texted her. I commented on his Facebook post. I said those are as loud as kneeling on third down.
Is that the Derek Dooley look?
It was very much the Derek Dooley look.
Shelton, you're not going Derek Dooley on us, are you?
I think he is, but you know, if he wants to throw one out there, I would consider buying a pair of those pants and wearing them for a week if we lost to Tennessee. If he would commit to buying a pair of red ones and wearing those for the week if Georgia is to go up to Knoxville and win. So
does Shelton, does he own a pair of those like checkered overalls?
Ooh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I mean, let's talk. Look at the clientele we're talking to.
Jacob basically just said, "Yeah, he's that kind of guy."
Oh my gosh!
Hey, real quick, let's go ahead and go over to our middle school football report. Last week, the varsity Ocoee Colts defeated Lake Forest 34-18 up there at Walker Valley, and then the Lake Forest junior varsity beat Ocoee 28-8. Cleveland lost to Baylor at Cleveland Middle School 49-0, very tough Baylor middle school team, and Baylor's middle school team also got the win over Cleveland Middle. This week, big game, big-time middle school football game coming up tomorrow, Cleveland Middle at Lake Forest. So little in-county battle between those two middle school teams that'll take place at 7 p.m. And then Ocoee is at William Blount, and I believe the Colts are undefeated right now.
Yeah, so far they're 3-0. You know, one of the mantras they say is 0-0 after every.
That's right.
After every game, they're 0-0. On to the next one. But saw some videos on Facebook of the Cleveland Baylor game, and boy, when I tell you the size of some of those Baylor boys was like daunting. Like it looked like a mini high school team.
Baylor's one of the premier high school programs in the entire country these days, and that's not changing anytime soon.
I'm going to throw some shade here, and I've got some friends at Baylor, and I tell them this to their face, but when you can reclassify a kid and keep them in middle school when they're like 14, getting ready to get their learner's permit, like, yeah, you better be good. You also recruited them from Georgia. Like,
they and Macaulay have this thing about all these Canadian kids coming down there too. You know, they get those kids. I don't know, man. They get kids. They recruit them from all over the country. They are, like you said, they are one of the elite high school programs in this country.
Well, I'm just going to call a spade, and like I coach JV, so I have my 6th and 7th graders when we play baseball. When we play their varsity, there might be 2 kids on that team that played last year. Every 8th grade year, it's like a brand new team of kids that have all like just shown up out of nowhere at Macaulay we haven't played Baylor a lot, but it is like that with Macaulay a ton. So you play a team in JV in 6th and 7th grade, and then all of a sudden they found a kid that can throw 91 miles an hour as an 8th grader.
Listen, there are other private schools in this state that are mad because Baylor and Macaulay, they get kids, they live on campus, you know, they don't think that's fair. Of course, Baylor and Macaulay have been doing that for 100 years, so, you know, but they have really taken advantage of their situation. And like I said, Baylor and Macaulay, they're easily the 2 best programs in the entire state of Tennessee. In private schools, I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
They really are.
Yeah, and then I think there's some Nashville ones that rival it pretty closely.
But even the Nashville schools are envious because they don't have the you know, on campus the kids living on campus.
Yeah, the Brentwood Academies, the Montgomery Bells.
Yeah. They're good, but they've been surpassed by Baylor and Macaulay. They just have.
Yeah, for sure. Steven says no overalls. He's also out on the Tennessee-Georgia wager, so that tells me how he's feeling about 2 weeks away. So, I'll just take that as...
So he's not willing to do the wager. Okay. Listen, I might have a little bit more faith in the Vols than our guy Stephen Shelton does. I don't know.
I think I'm not sold on anything. I tell this people, maybe it's just I'm not a very raw type of guy. Like I like to let the game talk. But what Tennessee did on Saturday was impressive. Their offense was impressive. Their defense flew around the football
against a legitimate opponent in Syracuse.
Yeah,
Syracuse is going to win some football games this year.
Yeah.
And so I think they're a really good team. So we'll see.
By the way, I got to throw this out there. I was a guest on a radio show from East Lansing, Michigan today, and the host asked me if Kalen DeBoer will be the head coach at Alabama in 2027, and I said yes. I said yes. I went on a limb, so I've said it on one radio station. I'm going to say here. I think all this talk about getting rid of him is premature. I want to get y'all's opinion.
So I actually wanted to bring that up yesterday. We just kind of talked about it for a long time. My question was, if he only wins 8 games, if he has another 8-4 year, is he still at Alabama?
But man, the buyout is so high, man. That's why I said 2027. I said yes. I think he'll be there 2026 and 2027.
They're not spending any money on the roads, so I know that they've probably got some money stashed away somewhere.
Know,
have you ever driven a street now or down the interstate in Alabama? It's
it's not going to the roads,
little bumpy on the interstates. That's for sure.
Hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about Alabama when we come back from this break. Great opening segment, having some fun here on the drive, and we appreciate you guys joining us right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. We'll be right back in just a minute.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Now at Hardees, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardees, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
Cleveland Tire Center for over 45 years with the best name in tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, and Michelin. Northley Highway, Cleveland. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name says it all.
Mix 1041 and Honda of Cleveland are teaming up to give one deserving teacher in our local area the chance to win a 2025 Honda Civic LX. Nominate your favorite teacher at mymix1041.com or on the Mix 1041 app.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
You work hard, you take care of your family, you handle business, but when's the last time you took care of yourself? At Magnolia Dental Center of Cleveland, we get it. You don't need pampering. You need honest, high-quality dental care that fits your life. No lectures, no pressure. Just a team that respects your time and gets the job done right. So don't wait until it hurts. Call Magnolia Dental Center today. Take care of your smile like you take care of everything else. Call 423-476-3307 or visit magnoliadentalcenterofcleveland.com to schedule an appointment today. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 an hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And of course, now we're going to do Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank. The SEC Players of the Week on offense is Jackson Arnold from Auburn and Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback at LSU. Those are the co-offensive players of the week. Co-defensive players of the week, Xavier Harris, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Fred Johnson, linebacker from South Carolina. Special teams, Rayshawn Pleasant from Auburn and Vicari Swain from South Carolina. The offensive lineman of the week, Braylon Moore, center from LSU. Defensive lineman, Will Whitson from Mississippi State. And the freshman of the week, Braylon Staley, wide receiver from the University of Tennessee. And that is your Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank.
Hey, we're also going to have Bo Morgan, the executive producer and pregame host of the Atlanta Falcons radio network, on with us around 5:40 today. Looking forward to having Bo on. And hey, Jim, did we ever get a winner for our TVFCU Tennessee Ticket Tuesday? Has that been announced yet?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
We're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, I need to look. I can check my email.
Yeah, we can get that on air today if that's a legitimate possibility. I think we'll get that figured out. But, man, what a great deal Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union's offering for Tennessee Ticket Tuesday. Able to win tickets to Tennessee home games, of course, this Saturday, ETSU. And then to top it off, Hardees is throwing in a T-shirt and a free Hardees combo. So that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, man. I love Hardees. I'm a big Hardees fan.
I love their breakfast.
That's me. And they have the best biscuits and gravy known to mankind.
Biscuits made from scratch.
There's something about them.
Made from scratch daily.
It makes me want some right now. I could eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can eat it for all three meals, but I love Hardees.
I'm right there with you. So I want to go back. We were talking Alabama before the break. We're talking a little bit of Roll Tide. Roll Tide kind of slowed down there in Tallahassee this past weekend as the Noles put it on them. But today it came out. It was on big ESPN that Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer said, "My message is that our team I think we have a good football team." and that we can still do some big things this year. We've got to prove it. We've got to go do it.
Yep.
And everything I've heard, everything I've seen, it's just very basic. Like, I feel like you're not getting an authentic response from him. It's almost scripted. It's almost by the book. And I even heard on Feinbaum before I came in today on my way here, before we went on air, and Feinbaum kind of said the same thing. He mentioned, like, this is like a politically correct response. This is a diplomatic response to something that you should have a little passion and concern in your voice when you're talking to the media and addressing your team. And I get the whole thing. It's 1 week, but you know what? We had a one whole season last year where you lost to Vandy, where you lost to Oklahoma. This wasn't losing to a good Oklahoma team. It was a bad Oklahoma team.
And Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt. I don't care what anyone says. Vanderbilt should not beat Alabama. They just should not, especially when you look at all the 5 stars on Alabama's roster. I mean, Vanderbilt, I don't think they've got a single 5-star.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen. Now, give Vandy some credit. They're kind of changing the course of their program a little bit, but to your point, it is not at the blue blood level of an Ohio State or a Texas or a USC or
LSU.
an Alabama or LSU or Notre Dame. It's not there.
No.
It's not. So to kind of go back to the question that was asked, I do not think he's the head coach in 2 years. I don't see it. I do not see it.
The buyouts could be massive. Can they? Absolutely, they can. Will they? That's the other question.
Well, one thing that was tweeted out today, because this has become such a topic of conversation, it says Kalen DeBoer, on the other hand, is on monthly payment, equal monthly installments from when it happens through December 31st of 2031. When it happens like that, when it's set up like that, it becomes a line item. And so I don't know if that's meant to be more of a, like, we set his contract up this way because we weren't married to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Alabama has done this strategically, because I'm kind of with y'all in the sense of, like, even when Alabama played poorly, Nick Saban would say things like, they ran through our you-know-what, like poop through a tin horn or whatever it was, his famous quote. Like, he held them to such a high standard. And if you're an Alabama fan, that first year you're like, okay, it's a transition year. Well, you just got your teeth kicked in the opening game, and we're giving politically correct answers. Like, there should be some fire behind yourself, and there should be like, hey, like, our guys didn't play to the standard of Alabama football. Nick Saban sat there last week and said, you've got a target on your back.
Yeah,
and
they do.
Lord, did they? They went out
and
there.
I'll say this. I don't think that Kalen DeBoer is a bad coach. I don't. I think he's still probably top tier. What he did at Washington was impressive. But when you're talking about Alabama, you go out, you venture out and get him when you could bring in some. And I know Jim has made this point, and I think you too, Jacob. Like, well, who wants to follow Nick Saban in that role? That's a tough role to follow a legend.
It's impossible to live up to the expectations.
And I understand that. But when the price tag is right, you can lure a lot of people away from certain jobs. And kind of looking at a couple names within the conference, Kirby Smart, is he going to leave Georgia? Of course not. Okay, well then you go, all right, who's next on the list? Lane Kiffin. I don't understand.
That would be the one.
Lane Kiffin was scratching and clawing when he was at FAU to land a legitimate job. And to be offered with the holy grail of college football programs, if the price is right, I don't see him turning it down. So you value Kalen DeBoer as an athletic department at Alabama more than you value Lane Kiffin or Dabo Swinney or Brian Kelly, who's at LSU, who's not afraid to jump for a dollar sign. We've seen that. So it just kind of, I don't know. I think they kind of knew. Listen, we've been on cloud nine for such a long time. We've been, the cream of the crop for such a long time. We're bound to have a lull period. Let's go ahead and hire this guy. I honestly think that might have been part of the mindset.
Yeah, I don't know. And to me, I've always thought that he's a good coach. Like, you look at his coaching record, like, it speaks for itself.
You talk about DeBoer?
Yes.
Yes, there's no question.
But coaching in the SEC is a different animal. It is. It's truly a different animal, and, like, there's people that are cut for that cloth, and there's people that are not. Like, when I think of people that were cut for that cloth, like Dan Lanning is a name that comes to mind. Like, he was a guy that was out there, and he turned it. He was very open about, he turned it down, and he's kind of got the keys to a Ferrari and himself out on the West Coast. So,
Oregon.
I get that, but I think of guys like him who are cut from that cloth. I never really felt like DeBoer was an SEC coach type of guy. I thought he was a great coach.
Who's the Iowa State head coach?
Campbell.
Matt
Campbell.
Yeah, Matt Campbell. He's had a great resume. He is maxed out at Iowa State, and I know he wants to be loyal to Iowa State. But a guy like that's so structured and driven, who's that sound like? That
Sounds
structure,
like Saban a little bit.
That structure is exactly what you should carry on in your program. And clearly, Kalen DeBoer is not doing that when it comes to the TikToks and the other antics that don't look good. If you're winning, who cares? But it doesn't look good when you're losing.
Here's the thing. There are certain programs where the expectations are high. When Nick Saban took the LSU job from Michigan State, his record at Michigan State, very average. Very average. Didn't wow anyone, but there was something there that people thought, I think this guy can do something given the better resources. LSU has better resources than Michigan State. So he won a national championship there. Now, what has more resources than LSU? Alabama. Alabama is one of the few jobs out there where the expectations are at the absolute tip top of the spectrum. And he took the Miami Dolphins job, and when the Alabama job opened up, when Mike Shula became, expendable, and they let him go, I think there was only maybe a couple jobs that Nick Saban would have left the Dolphins for, and Alabama was one of them. And he maximized everything. He did what he thought he could do because he saw what he could do at LSU, and the resources were even greater in Tuscaloosa. And he took that and he became the greatest head football coach in college football history.
So, I'll be honest, I have a little bit of a differing take than you. I don't think the administration thought this may just be a lull period. In Alabama football is just about all that they care about. It's what they wake up on Saturdays for.
There's no pro teams.
It is everything.
War Eagle.
Again, football in general. We'll just say that football in general in the state of Alabama
clarify there
is incredibly important. I think that they reached out and nobody was willing to pick up the bill.
Let me ask you this, guys.
Who wants to
I want to throw this out there too.
Okay.
Another message here from the text line. Mike Norvell was offered that job and turned it down.
Here's the thing. When Nick Saban had all his success, the NIL world wasn't there. The transfer portal wasn't what it is now. Alabama doesn't have the deepest pockets in the world. Their pockets are not as deep as Texas A&M, and a few other schools out there. Is it to the point where we're seeing what the reality of, hey, Alabama, you're not getting to everyone. You don't get to pick the best of the best because the best of the best is going to go where they're paying the most money. And so I think there's a lot of truth there that maybe he's not getting, maybe whoever's the head coach at Alabama just simply can't get the best of the best because the NIL money there is not as good as it is in other places. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that the money is necessarily an issue. I just think that now everybody's a player. Everybody's a spender. And so kids are valuing money now more than money later. And that was something that Nick Saban always promised those guys is if you come to Alabama and you sit your turn and you wait, you are going to be an NFL star. But a lot of these kids are taking the checks early.
That's right. And you're seeing verbal recruits flipping left and right. And a lot has to do because they're just getting promised more money.
Yeah. And that's kind of like Kirby has made it pretty well known that he wants football guys. He wants guys that are looking to play football for the rest of their career. That's what they want their job to be, and they come in on a discount because they know if you're going to come play at the University of Georgia on defense, most likely if you work your way up there, you're going to go in rounds 1, 2, or 3.
If you're a starter, you'll probably end up on an NFL team.
Hey, with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the drive and got to cover some Atlanta Braves, and of course, got a good interview coming up here with our guy Bo Morgan, the executive producer and pregame host of the Atlanta Falcons. And the Atlanta Falcons radio network, that is, going to chat with him about Atlanta getting ready to kick off their season, transition over to NFL for the last portion of the show. So with that, we'll be right back here on ESPN Cleveland.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardees morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardees smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardees, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week, they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. Need cash? Check. Behind on bills? Check. Unexpected car repair, broken appliance, surprise vet bill? Check, check, and check. Time to check into Cash, your one-stop money shop. Check all the boxes all in one place. From payday loans to flex lines of credit, we've got solutions that move with you. The process is simple, quick, and designed to get you the help you need fast. If you've been approved, you can leave with cash in hand. Check Into Cash also offers check cashing, money orders, wire transfers, and even gift card buyback. Check your worries at the door and check into a store to apply. We have stores in the Chattanooga area, including Cleveland and Athens. Or visit checkintocash.com to get started today. Check Into Cash. We fund today to make a better tomorrow. Subject to state regulations, eligibility, credit check, underwriting, and approval. Rates, restrictions, and fees apply. Visit the store for details.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram.
Need a new shop, garage, or other unique space? Explore post-frame building kits from Best Buy Metals. Best Buy Metals kits utilize steel trusses for the ultimate in strength and durability. When you need it to last, call Best Buy Metals. Stop by or visit bestbuymetalroof.com for your custom structure.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
When it comes to Mayfield Dairy ice cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams are cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding. They're inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. Learn more at MayfieldDairy.com.
And before we get to our guests, here are the winners for the Tennessee tickets. Hunter Wilson and Karen Franklin. So they will be going to Neyland Stadium to watch the Vols and the Buccaneers.
So shout out to them for winning those TVFCU Tennessee tickets that we did yesterday on our Tennessee Ticket Tuesday.
That's right.
Good stuff there. Hey, with that, we're going to transition over to some NFL coverage. Going down to the ATL to cover our Falcons, we've got our guy Bo Morgan on the phone with us. He's the executive producer and pregame host of the Atlanta Falcons radio network. Bo, glad to be back with you, man.
Nah, I'm glad to be with you guys. I hope everything's going well. See, somebody just won some tickets to go see Tennessee play, huh?
That's right.
Playing East Tennessee. I think that should be a fairly easy game for the Vols, but hey, it's good to get up there for free for sure. Hey, I'm going to ask the first question if you don't mind, guys. I saw where 2 rookies are going to be starting for the Falcons. Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman, named starters for the Falcons week 1. How do you feel about having 2 rookies starting in the backfield game 1?
Well, and I think, really you look at, James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker as well, guys, and they're gonna be up front, getting a lot of playing time throughout the season. James Pierce Jr. probably more in week 1. I feel good about Xavier Watts and Bowman too, but I think I'll get to Bowman in a second because there's a little bit more to that from what I can kind of see and what I personally think how they're going to use them. But with Watts, I mean, look, I feel great. That kid was he's a ball hawk. He was a good player at Notre Dame. He's sliding in next to Jesse Bates, who is, if not the best safety in the league, probably the most cerebral safety in the league, and there's not a bigger student of the game in the NFL as far as safety position goes than Jesse Bates. So I feel pretty good about that. On that part, but with Bowman, that we talked to Mike Hughes during training camp, and I asked him the difference. Mike Hughes is the guy that's played the nickel, and he's played outside, both at a somewhat high level, and kind of asked him what's the difference in those spots, and he basically said, "Look, when you're playing that nickel, yeah, coverage is a part of it, but you're kind of like an extra linebacker when it comes to the run game." And I could really see this team kind of using Bowman in D. Alford, who was the starting nickel last year, in a rotational kind of way in that nickel spot, where if it's kind of based on snaps and packages, personnel package, what personnel package is in the game when the offense is on the field, and they might use that as kind of he be maybe more of an early down guy, and then Alford more of a late and based on it late in a set and down in distance, maybe more like a 3rd and 7 or maybe even 3rd and medium. But so I think Bowman and D. Alford are going to kind of rotate in that. But look, those guys played at a high level in college. They've done everything that's been asked. They've competed for jobs, and they've seemingly rose to the top in what a secondary that's not as thin as it once used to be for Atlanta, from all the way from the edge to the middle to back to the other side with the other outside corner.
Bo, we've got a lot of Tennessee fans that are listening. Kind of give us what is the role of James Pierce Jr. going to be on this team? I know right now he's listed as a backup off the edge for the Falcons. What's the word on James Pierce coming out of Atlanta?
Well, I didn't see one single player take more snaps in training camp practices and in the preseason than James Pierce Jr., and he didn't even suit up in the 3rd preseason game. He played a ton. And look, you guys, they are really high on him. In fact, if Jalen Walker doesn't fall into their lap, I think that there's a good chance. I think we've talked about this. There's a good chance they're trading back to still wanting Pierce. And if they couldn't do anything, if they had to just stand pat and there's no Jalen Walker and they can't trade back, I think they could have taken James Pierce too. I think anybody that tells you that's wrong doesn't know how high this organization was. But look, he's came into training camp and he's done everything they've asked of him. He has been aggressive. He's made plays. He hasn't gotten to the quarterback and got him on the ground in a preseason game. But there was a pick in the game against the Titans where D. Alford comes up with a pick, and he talks about how him and how that was something that they saw on film, and that wasn't D. Alford, it was Natron Brooks makes the pick. They talk about him and D. Alford saw it on film. But look, I think James Pierce created that because he got off the edge and made I think it was Cam Ward that threw it, made him rush it, and so James Pierce has went out and just worked his butt off. He's been aggressive, and he's not been afraid to anger anyone on that field. He's gotten multiple camp fights, which, look, that's not always a be-all, end-all, oh, you're going to be a great player. But the point is he's made no bones about what he's trying to do, and that's get to the quarterback, and he's done it with any means necessary. So it's everyone is high on him. It's funny because I kept hearing some people in the media down here talk about, well, look, Jalen Walker is the experienced guy, and James Pierce is just going to have to kind of grow into the spot. And I was thinking the whole time, they're different players. One is a much more polished pass rusher than the other. And, oh, by the way, the one that's more polished is Pierce. And he's came in with his hair on fire and said, look, I'm the fire breather off the edge that gets to the quarterback. Jalen Walker might be your be-all everything, and he can get to the quarterback, but I'm the man in getting to the quarterback in the future of this team. Now, that's the tone he set in training camp in the preseason. Let's hope he backs it up to come week 1 of the regular season against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you speak of week 1, they start off with the Buccaneers, but going down that list, the first 6 games, the Falcons are not favored in any of the 6. Do you feel like that's warranted?
I mean, I guess, yeah, if you want to look at the way this team ended. Tampa was a playoff team, so that's your first matchup, right? Your next matchup, you go to Minnesota, another playoff team who is changing at quarterback, and you're playing them in Minnesota. And I've been to Minnesota a couple of times. They don't always turn out well. You do have a win there in the COVID year, but that place is a tough place to win on a Sunday night. So, yeah, now you're obviously probably going to be a favorite against the Panthers, but then you turn around, another playoff team that you got to play in week 4 in Washington, which beat you last season. And then what? You turn around and once again, and you're looking at on a Monday night game, Buffalo. Yeah, I think it's warranted because you're playing teams that were in the playoffs and that have done things that you haven't done in a long time. And then and on top of that, then you got to go in week 7, coming off the bye or whatever, and you got to play San Francisco on a Sunday night game. So yeah, these aren't easy games. They're playoff teams or teams that should be in the playoffs. So it's warranted based on who they've been in the past and who you've been. Is that basically something that shows about what you are this year? No, because we don't know what any of these teams are this year. And there's a really good chance by the time we get to some of these matchups, the Falcons are, Vegas has flipped the script, and it's either a push or their Falcons are slightly favored. So I don't buy too much into it, but I don't blame Vegas or anyone in the media feeling that way about it.
Once again, we're joined by Bo Morgan, the executive producer and pregame host of Atlanta Falcons Radio. Glad to have you with us, Bo. And last thing that I've got for you here is it was well documented throughout the offseason, kind of all the things that went on with the quarterback position. Currently, what is the climate of the quarterback room between Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I'm not in the room, so I can't say 100%. Well, these guys are hamming it up, and they're sharing gifts and memes and posts on social media that they like. But I can tell you what you see in practice, and Kirk Cousins has been from what everyone we've seen, the ultimate professional. He understands this is Michael Penix's team. He's doing everything that's asked of him and running the second team and doing that at a higher level, you can kind of see. But this is Michael Penix's team, and everything on the field shows that, and everything that you can tell is Kirk Cousins going along with that. And I believe that Kirk, now that the dust has settled and once training camp started, he understood that. And look, you want to get traded if that comes up. You want to show that you're still the ultimate pro and you've got it. You just go out there and do your job and be in a supportive role. And don't make no mistake about it. It helps. Look, if Kirk Cousins is helping Michael Penix in those situations, it helps Kirk too, because at the end of the day, you're one play away from being the starter. And think about it. I mean, it's an old reference, but you're one bad play for Michael Penix from being in a Jeff Hostetler, Phil Simms situation, and you'd be Hostetler if you're Kirk Cousins. And it's not like he hasn't been in this situation in the NFL before, and he did it right then. And it's very professional. There's no doubt that Kirk is doing everything professionally asked of him, and there is a good guy in there too from anything we've all seen about him. So I'm sure he's handling it the right way and being supportive because, again, at the end of the day, it only helps him moving forward to handle this the right way. And so everything I can see, it's a good one. They have 2 quarterbacks on the roster and then Easton Stick on the practice squad. So it's all well, and nothing I've seen that shows me or have heard tells or shows me otherwise.
Great stuff, Bo, man. I appreciate you taking the time to give us a call today. As always, keeping us on the inside of what's going on down there with the Atlanta Falcons.
Anytime, guys. I'm always here. I love talking to y'all.
Awesome. We'll definitely have you back on. Bo Morgan, the executive producer and pregame host of Atlanta Falcons Radio. Always enjoy his insight with all things Atlanta Falcons.
You know, I'm curious to see how many design runs that they have on the package for Michael Penix. Listen, we know he can do it. Do you risk your quarterback? We all know the NFL is a different animal when it comes to hits, and they hit a lot harder and more fiercely than they do in college, and everyone's really, really fast. I'm just curious how many times they're going to have design runs for him.
And I would say that's part of the reason why you hold on to Kirk Cousins for that. I mean, that's a good value in a guy to come off the bench that you can have faith that you've seen him lead your team when he's healthy. Kirk Cousins healthy now. Yeah. We know when he went on that little skid last year, had some stuff going on.
You know, the one thing that I always wonder how this works, you know, you got a left-handed starter. If he gets hurt, obviously Kirk Cousins is right-handed. How does that change the offensive philosophy, the offensive line? You know, your blind side is a different side. And that's always one of those dynamics. That's why, and I know this is going to sound terrible, I'm not a fan of left-handed quarterbacks for that very reason, unless your backup is also left-handed.
Falcons kind of making a habit out of it, going back to Michael Vick.
But, I mean, see, you know what I'm saying, though, because the whole way you do your offense changes because you're going to roll out the opposite way depending on if it's a lefty or a righty.
Yeah, they've got a lot of weapons on that Falcons offense. We, per usual, excited to cover the Atlanta Falcons along with the Tennessee Titans for all of our NFL coverage throughout the entire NFL season. But, hey, let's go over to our Atlanta Braves coverage on the drive, brought to you by Mayfield Dairy. Yesterday in Game 2, Atlanta falls in yet another one-run loss. I believe that's like 37?
33.
33. Okay, 33 on the season with that 4-3 loss to the Cubs yesterday. Joey Wentz takes the loss, gave up all 4 of those Cubs runs on his watch. 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, though, so something to be optimistic about. The guy has got some filthy stuff, just can't let that ball hang around and play. And then on the offensive side of things, Ozzie Albies, Marcell Ozuna, and the newly added shortstop, Ha-Seong Kim, all had 2-hit games. With Albies and Eli White each hitting a homer in yesterday's game.
You guys, I mean, we haven't talked about this in a while. Who do you feel right now are the World Series favorites, American and National League? I'm still sticking with the Cubs and the Toronto Blue Jays. What about you guys? You got anything?
I can't help but just go Phillies, just kind of looking at track record.
Even though Zach Wheeler's out?
Seeing what they're able to do offensively, even with him out, I still feel that way because when you've got a dude like Ranger Suarez and they've got
offense,
enough,
man.
They've got enough pitching that I think they can stretch it to get through the playoffs. And when you get into a 7-game series in the World Series, I think you've got the offense just to put up the big numbers to win a 12-11, 12-10 game.
What about you, Jake? World Series right now, American National.
And Kyle Schwarber's probably going to be your MVP, in my opinion.
You think so?
I think Milwaukee's got a good chance to do it. The Brewers. I really do.
Deep in pitching.
And nobody's mentioned the Dodgers. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. They're always in the picture.
Of course.
Like, if we're trying to go a little outside the box, I feel like we could pick the Dodgers. Right now, to me, they're the most well-ran baseball team in America.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, I could pick them. I'm going to go a little off the wall and say I think Milwaukee's got a really strong team.
Deep in pitching.
What about American League? Y'all got I'm going with the Blue Jays. I've said that for a couple months now. I'm not changing my pick there.
Man, I tell you what, that's one that
the American League's hard to pick.
It really is. The Yankees are up and down.
Very up.
As much as I hate to say it, I kind of feel like if they get it together, they're dangerous. So I'm going to say Yankees for the sake of things right now.
I mean, I said the Yankees over the summer. I just think that they're too wishy-washy. I don't know that I can.
I see. I see that.
You know, who knows? With the American League, honestly, who knows?
Yeah. Braves tonight in Chicago for the final game of the 3-game series up at Wrigley. On the bump, Bryce Elder takes on Cade Horton. First pitch is at 7:40 on Mix 104.1. Pre- and post-game coverage right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. With that, we got Finish Line Radio coming up next right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Those guys have you completely covered with all the NASCAR information, and they say, I've been told, it's the best NASCAR show in America. So tune into that and definitely learn a little bit if it's something that you might not know a whole lot about. Finish Line has you covered.
I listen to it every Wednesday. Absolutely, man.
That's it. So for Jim, Jacob, I'm Andy. Have a great day, everybody.